What's up? Welcome back. Today's video is going to be my April reading wrap-up. A very late April reading wrap-up, but an April reading wrap-up nonetheless. In April, I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I read 10 books in April. 8 of them were the SHATTER series. I have read the entire series now. I read Believe Me at the start of May, but I'm just gonna talk about all of them as a whole in this video because I read them all consecutively and I don't recall the difference, you know? I'm gonna go on to my Goodreads and see what I rated all of them. I don't think I rated anything less than 4 stars because this series is a good, like, I would say this series as a whole for me is 4.5 stars. I'll just start out by saying I love the SHATTER series. It was super slay. Why am I so out of breath today? That's really annoying. Oh my gosh, crazy. For the first book, for SHATTER Me, my review was 3.75, which is crazy now, like looking back. But it says, devoured it but didn't love the ending. Shall see where the rest of the series goes. I don't remember what the ending was of the first one. Honestly, I literally just read all these books, but I've forgotten a lot of different things about them, so there is that. I do, like, I know I read it really quickly. I read the whole series consecutively, so I don't really remember where one book ends and the next begins. And my, what do you call this? My reviews that I wrote are not very detailed. So for Unravel Me, the second book in the series, I gave it 4.5, which is much better. I wrote, I love that she sees both sides of the fight in the whole killing anyone is bad, so killing soldiers who just needed a job isn't justified kind of way. Which is a weird thing to take from it because there's so much going on in these books that is like, that is such an insignificant part of both the story and her character, and it honestly doesn't, that way of thinking for her doesn't stick around through the whole entire thing. So it's very fascinating to read that I read that, to read that I wrote that, to see that I thought that, whatever. Still interesting. I think that I just like that way of thinking in general, so the fact that that was kind of like expressed in that book was fascinating to me. And then Unite Me, the novella after that, I wrote 3.75. I know a lot of people don't rate novellas, but I do because I like to judge everything. 3.75, I wrote Adam was giving Dane in Fourth Wing with the whole she can't handle the battlefield thing, and I hated that, but Warner was more slay. If you know, you know. If you get it, you get it, you know. That's really all I had to say there. And then with Ignite Me, the third book in the series, guys, Ignite Me is my favorite in this series, and I gave it 5 stars, and my review just says, Aaron Warner, 10 out of 10, delicious. So I hope you enjoyed that rating. I think that if you want to end at Ignite Me, you can. Like, if you want to read it as a trilogy and just assume that they overthrow the government and live happily ever after, go ahead, finish with Ignite Me. But I honestly really enjoyed the entire series. So, you know, live your dreams, do whatever you like. With Restore Me, the next book in the series, I gave it a 4.5, and my review literally just says, what in the heck just happened? I don't know. I don't really recall. Sorry, that's so not funny, but someone's review on here just says, trigger warning, panic attacks, transphobia, mentions of racism, gun violence. The gun violence made me giggle because, like, obviously there's gun violence in it. Yep, so I honestly don't remember what Restore Me was about. I think I remember, okay, the thing is, like, it's all meshed into one in my head, so I can't see in my mind's eye or whatever. Like, I can't see in my head, like, where one book ends and where the next begins, and I also don't remember like the exact like flow of events, like the sequence in which, like the time order, how they happened, but I remember what happened. Like if I were to reread it, I'd be like, oh yeah, 100% I remember that happening. You know what I mean? For Defy Me, the 5th book in the series, I wrote 4.5 stars. Literally so much torture, but also so good. Fascinating. That was, I do remember exactly what happened in Defy Me, and I really liked it, even though the entire time I was like, I need them to find each other again. If you've read it, you get it. Next is the Find Me novella, and I rated that 4 stars, and I wrote, I love Kenji and the Jello thing is hilarious. And I stand by that. I stand by what I said. I do love Kenji. He is I don't know if he's my, yeah, like, I love Warner. The thing is, like, I love Warner in a romantic way, and I love Kenji in a character way. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to marry Warner, but I think that Kenji, like, carried the series. Like, if Kenji's character wasn't in this series, it wouldn't be that good. Yeah, Kenji calling Juliet Jello is my favorite thing in the whole entire universe. And I will call Juliet Jello forever. So, Imagine Me, the last full-length book in the entire series. I rated it 4 stars, and this is so irrelevant. My review says, the robot Juliet thing reminds me of when Sarah has her memories erased in Chuck. I wish she got him back like Juliet did. Also, Kenji slays. The Kenji slays thing is really the only relevant part of this review. If you've watched the TV show Chuck, which started airing in like 2007 and finished in like 20-something teen, then you know what I mean. What happened to Sarah and the ending, because there was no resolution. I am not gonna apologize for spoilers on the TV show Chuck because it's been out for like a million years at this point, but Sarah has her memories stolen and she does not get them back. It's like a wholesome ending, but still like a little bit sad. So yeah, that was what I was thinking about when Juliet was being controlled. So there is that. The last one, which technically I read in May, but I'm counting it as April because, well, I'm not counting it in numbers as April because then it would be 11 books, but I'm saying it's 10, but I'm just talking about it in this wrap up because, you know, it's part of the series. I'm not gonna split them up. My review for this was 4 stars and it just says all caps, Aaron dot Warner dot, that's it. The last novella really wrapped it up nicely for me. I love the wedding. It's so beautiful. It's so sweet. I was happy with the ending, is what I'm saying. I really loved the whole series. I loved how it ended. Moving on to the other 2 books that I read in April. By the way, I said nothing about this series. This is a YA, if you don't know anything about Shatter Me, which is very unlikely, it's a YA dystopian series with like some fantasy elements in it. Also, like Adam, side-eye forever. Going back to what I read Hunt the Villain by RINA Kent. I am a big fan of RINA Kent's writing. I don't know even how to talk about this book, to be honest. Let's see if I wrote anything. Okay, yeah, okay. So let's just start off with this. I rated this 5 stars and my review says, perfect, I love them. So that's cool. This is about Vaughn and Julian. Vaughn is the son of Sasha and Kirill, and I read the Monster Trilogy, the people in the Monster Trilogy. I read the Monster Trilogy at the end of last year, start of this year, I think, and that was the first dark romance that I ever read. So that kind of like set the tone for me. Reading about their son, which, sorry if you didn't want to know that they have a son, but they have a son. Reading about their son was very slay. I love Vaughn and I love Julian. Julian's inner monologue is the best thing ever. Just saying, he's so fucking funny. When I first started reading this book and some of the things that he was saying, I was like, okay, he's kind of cringe. And then as the book goes on, he's just so aggressively like shameless about it and like confident that I'm like, it can't be cringe because he's so like sure of himself in what he's doing and he's so like unapologetic about it, and it's very funny. It went from me being like, oh, that's kind of cringe, like that would give me the ick, to being like, wow, he's just like going for it. He's just doing what he wants to do. He's so not holding back at all in his pursuit. So it's just crazy. These guys are from like rival mafia families, so they can't be together, but also like they met each other when they were teenagers and some stuff happened, and then they meet each other again as adults and some stuff happens. There's like a lot of like, I guess like previous miscommunications or like things that they don't know about each other's side of the story that makes them hate each other, and it's like so fascinating. But then like they're super attracted to each other and it's like very cute. There's something so special about it. So I absolutely love these characters and their relationship. It is spicy. Like I'm not a huge spice person, but I honestly don't care because this was so cute. 5 stars for Hunt the Villain. I loved it. That is my highest rated RINA Kent book to this day. Did you just hear my jaw crack? That was disgusting. The last book that I read in April was God of Malice by RINA again. I love this. I was a little bit shook with what was going on in like the second chapter, to be honest. But then I got used to it and I was like, hey, it's not so bad. That's super cute, by the way. I love this. Yeah, this is quite an acquired taste for sure, you know, with the dark romances. Check your trigger warnings and whatnot. Didn't bother me, but yeah. So this follows Killian Carson and Glendon King. I don't really want to say anything about it because like it's a dark mafia college romance, but it's also got like a mystery kind of plot in this one. It's just, I really liked it. I really liked both of the characters in this, and that is, by the way, I rated this. My review says 4.25. That is not true. This was that was actually a typo. This was 4.75 for me. I almost loved it to be a 5-star, but it wasn't quite. And the reason that it's not a 5-star for me is because he called her like Little Rabbit or something. Was it Little Rabbit? I think it's Little Rabbit that he calls her. That wasn't my main issue. My main issue is that she ends up calling him my monster, and that just irks me for some reason. I don't like it at all. I'm just not a huge fan of that. Not a nickname that I vibe with, but beyond that, I loved it. I love their relationship. I love their characters. I think it's super cool. Super cool. I don't know about that. I think it's a really good book and I really enjoyed it. So there is that, and that is saying something because I'm currently reading God of Pain, and I've been reading God of Pain for like a long time. Like ever since I finished God of Malice, which was like the middle of April, I have been reading God of Pain while reading like the rest of the Shatter Me series, and like I'm currently now reading Watch Me, which is the first book of the New Republic, like the second Shatter Me thing. I'm still only halfway through God of Pain because I don't really like the characters. No offense to people who love Creighton and Annika, but I find them both kind of annoying. It's just my opinion. That's taken me a really long time to get through, but I can't DNF it because I want to know everything that's going on in this universe because I have the rest of the books to read and I want to know what's going on. Those were the 10 books that I read in April. I'm quite happy with them. They were all pretty highly rated. Yeah, if you've read them, let me know what you think about them down below. Hopefully I will be more on time with my next uploads. Can't guarantee anything because I am me. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you watched all the way to the end, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!